of principles for living was a list of values that our family held dear and would strive to live by. At some point during every vacation, we would talk through each value we had previously listed and add to the list anything we had learned over the last year and deemed important enough to include. These values were based on the Bible and truths that we, as a family, wanted to keep in the forefront of our minds. Through the years, this list provided a compass for us whenever we forgot who we were and whose we were. It provided that little voice in our heads that reminded us of the kind of people we wanted to be. Check out this list in the appendix and consider starting one for your family. If you do it, make it your own. Call it whatever you want. Feel free to take one or two principles as a starting point and then ask your kids what values they believe are important for your family. This was a great way for our family to pass down a legacy of positive, healthy values, and it can be for yours too. What values do you hold dear? So back to the question posed to me in the Women's Bible Study. As you can see, the concept of considering values or character traits that are important and living by them wasn't new to me. But that night was the first time I remember actually trying to pinpoint the values I wanted for our children. What values did Willie and I hold dear? Not just what we had been taught from our families, but what was important for us, for our own little ones. As I said before, we were young and had in a few short years gone from learning these things from our parents to teaching, instilling, and living them in front of our kids. Our parents had not just talked about values that are important, but they also lived them, which I believe makes all the difference. My parents followed the principles we discussed on our family vacations. For Willie and me, life was good and peaceful. We knew that both our sets of parents were going to stick together through thick and thin, in sickness and health, and for richer or poorer. We had confidence that God was with us and that His Word was true and a good guide for living full and happy lives. We also knew that although our parents were not perfect, they would always strive to live God's way. Those were the things I wanted for my children then, and although much has changed in our life since I was a young mom sitting in that Bible study, those are the same things I still want for my children now. I remember clearly my answer from that night. I hadn't put it into words before then, but I knew immediately that my answer was strong and kind. These were the first two words that came to my mind then, and they are still my answer today. These are the two traits I thought our kids would need to survive in this tough, beautiful world, to maneuver through difficult times and to be the light God called them to be. If our children grew up to be strong and kind adults, I figured we would have been successful in our role as parents. But why strong and kind? The value of being strong. Being strong is essential to me because we know that life in this world is not always easy. Our kids will have people they thought were friends turn on them. They will have loved ones move away or die. They will have times when they won't make the cheerleading squad or their first love will break their heart. As they get older, their marriages will go through tough times. The person they love the most will let them down. They may have to deal with miscarriages, job losses, and cancer. Our children are not immune to the problems that make our time in this fallen world so difficult. They need to be strong to get through these times. Since we know our children will experience these kinds of difficulties, we want to prepare them, to help them become strong enough to handle whatever comes their way. Our strength doesn't come from us, but from the one living in us. The Bible tells us to be strong in Him and in His mighty power. Ephesians 6:10. We want our children to have the confidence that comes from knowing that when God is for them, no one can be against them. Romans 8:31. We want them to know that even though tough times will come, there will be good on the other side. They need to know that with God, they'll be strong enough to ride out the storm. We want our children to be resilient, so if these storms of life bend them, they will not break, and they will always come back to their faith in their Father in heaven. We want our children to be strong so they won't be swayed by others' opinions of them or easily influenced by peer pressure, social media, or entertainment. We want them to be secure in what they know about themselves and confident that God's way is the best way, no matter what the outside influences are saying. We want them to be able to hold firmly to God's values and truth, even in the midst of voices telling them differently. The Bible is full of words that encourage us to be strong. One of my favorites is, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Joshua 1:9. Strong. It was the first trait that came to mind that day. The value of being kind. My other word was kind. This trait is for the benefit of others. Kindness is in direct opposition to concern for oneself. Being kind is all about being thoughtful, noticing another's need, and feeling it.